Welcome to the course on stochastic modeling. In this lecture, we will look at the MMMQs. Following the queuing terminology, we'll first look at what we mean by the MMMQs. We have a case where customers arrive according to a Poisson stochastic process. Let's say the rate of the customer's arrival is given by lambda. We have small m number of servers that can potentially serve the customer. We assume that all servers are identical and their service rates are independent of each other, and the service times are exponentially distributed with a parameter mu, which is common to all. So we have a case of m servers that can potentially serve in parallel. The buffer size or the waiting space for the customers in the queue is still considered to be infinite. So we show this in a diagrammatic manner in this figure. Because we have a Poisson arrival process, we use the first index of the queue notation to be capital M. That indicates that it is a Poisson stochastic process that characterizes the arrival rate, which has got the memoryless property. And because the service times are exponentially distributed, which again has got a memoryless property, we put the second index of the queue terminology to be capital M. But the number of servers are small m, and therefore instead of MM1, we put small m. So the way the customers get admitted to the queue and being serviced as follows. If the number of customers in the queuing system is, which we will call it as small n, if it is less than m, the number of servers, then only small n number of servers will be busy, because each server can take one customer and can serve them. Of course, it is assumed that it's not possible for two servers to service one customer, thereby speeding up the service. That's not possible. At most, only one customer can be served by one server. So if the number of customers in the queuing system, small n, is less than m, then only n servers are busy servicing n customers. There will be no customers waiting in the queue, and there will be m minus n servers, which are all will be idling. Therefore, in this scenario, then the expected time for the first customer to come out is the minimum of n IID exponentially distributed random variables, and therefore the rate will be n times mu. So the queuing system will have a rate at which customers coming out being n mu, where n is the number of customers in the queuing system, which is valid for n being less than m. If the number of customers n is greater than or equal to m, then all m servers will be busy. Remaining customers, if any, have to wait in the queue, and the service rate will be m times mu, because the server will come at the time taken for a customer to complete, at least a customer to complete the service and come out, will be the minimum of m exponentially distributed random variable. So the rate will be small m times mu. So here If n is greater than m, the remaining n minus m customers would be waiting in the queue, and m servers will be busy servicing m customers. As soon as a customer completes the service, the customer departs, the corresponding server will become free. Then the customer in the head of the line of the queue will go to the server which completes the service and become, thereby the server is no more busy. So immediately the customer will go and the server will start servicing and become busy. So there is no affinity of a customer to any server. The moment a server becomes free, the server starts taking the next customer and then starts service. Similarly, if there are less than m customers, say n customers, then n servers will be busy. Any potential customers who will arrive will go to the next server in a list. Okay. So the customer can go to any one of the remaining or idling m minus n servers. So this is the service discipline that is being followed. Let capital N be the total number of customers in the system at any given time. N of t for t greater than or equal to 0 is a continuous time Markov chain. That simply follows because the arrival process is Poisson and the service or the service times are exponentially distributed. And the arrival, the service time is independent of the number of customers in the queue, and the customers arrival are independent of the number of customers in the queue or the service times and so on. Because of all these things, we have a case where the Markovian property is obeyed. So n of t is a CTMC. If we discretize the time and look at it only at specific time points which are spaced with an interval of small delta, that is at the time 0, delta, 2 delta, 3 delta, or in general at time t is equal to k delta, then the queue length, or to be more specific, the number of customers in the queuing system, n at t is equal to k delta, which we denote it as nk, for k is equal to 0, 1, 2, will constitute a discrete time Markov chain or DTMC. Now we are going to analyze the DTMC that represents the number of customers in the queuing system at times k delta, or simply we will say at the kth time step. We will use a shorter notation for representing the probability that nk is equal to any given value small n. We will we can represent at stationarity, then the probability will be independent of the time or k delta, and therefore we can, the stationary probability of finding small n number of customers in the queuing system, we will denote it as p subscript n. So this n, the number of customers in the queuing system, can take value 0, 1, 2, 3 and so on. So the stationary distribution should specify the values of P0, P1, P2 and so on. The state of the DTMC are 0, 1, 2 and so on. We can now come up with the Markov chain model for the DTMC governing the small m queuing system. Okay. First and foremost, it is clear that even we don't need to actually look at how the probability that in one step the system moves from a state 1 to 2 or 2 to 3 and so on. We have already analyzed similar situation in the MM1 queue based on the different events that can lead to switching the state from 1 to 2, that is arrival of one customer and departure of no customers, arrival of two customers and departure of one customer, and so on. So by plugging in values like lambda delta plus order h order delta into 1 minus mu delta plus order delta and things like that, and clubbing all order delta terms and taking the limit that delta tends to 0, we can arrive at the probability of Pnn, that is the system remaining in the state n in one time step, or Pn n plus 1, that is the system moving from n to n plus 1, or n minus 1, n plus 2, and so on. First and foremost, it will be a birth-death process, that is Pn n plus I for I mod I greater than 1 will be 0, because it cannot, the state cannot increase or decrease by more than 1. And so only thing we need to look at is Pnn, that is the probability, which is the state transition, one step state transition probability for from n to n plus n, n plus 1, n to n minus 1. So we can easily find it out and write it. So now the only thing is, when you are in a state I at the time k, to be specific, nk means at the time n of t is equal to k delta, to the time n of t is equal to k plus 1 delta. So from I to j, the probability of transition is what we denote it as Pi comma j. So this is what we want to find. So we saw that the rate at which customers are served is small n times mu whenever n is less than or equal to m, and it will be m times mu whenever the state is greater than m. Okay, whereas the arrival rate is always fixed, which is lambda. So if you look at the transition from 0 to 1, it will be lambda delta, 1 to 2 is also lambda delta, and so on. So these probabilities n to n plus 1 for n 0 onwards is all lambda delta. Whereas if you look at the reverse transition 1 to 0, so one customer is getting serviced at the rate mu, so the probability of it, that probability that the customer leaves and the state decreases from 1 to 0 is mu delta. If there are two customers serviced by two servers, the service rate will be 2 mu, and therefore the probability of a state transition from 2 to 1 will be 2 mu delta. Similarly, from 3 it will be 3 mu delta. It goes like that till m. After m, all servers will be busy and there are only m servers, and therefore the maximum service rate that can be offered is only m mu, and the corresponding probability is m mu delta. So this remains same after m, and the probability that the system remains in the state, given state, will be such that the net probability of going out of the state should be equal to 1. So here we have lambda delta, here we have mu delta. So this outgoing transition will be 1 minus lambda delta minus mu delta. All outgoing transitions should be equal to 1, because the system, if it is in the state 1, in the next time step, it has to be in one state or the other, and the probability that it goes to one state or other, including the same state, has to be 1. So if we add 1 minus lambda delta plus mu delta minus mu delta plus lambda delta plus mu delta, it should be equal to 1. You don't need to bother about the probability of coming to a state. That need not be equal to 1. The probability of leaving a state or remaining in that one, that should be equal to 1. Similarly, we know that for the state 2, lambda delta is one outgoing transition's probability. 2 mu delta is another, the weightage for another transition which is outgoing. The third one has to be 1 minus lambda delta minus 2 mu delta. Then from the state 3, it will be 1 minus lambda delta minus 3 mu delta, and goes like that. And in the state m, it is 1 minus lambda delta minus m mu delta. And m plus 1 also, it will be, if you look at it, it will be, it is 1 minus lambda delta. This is wrong. This is just m mu delta. It will not be m plus 1 because there m, the number of servers is fixed as m, maximum is the only m mu. This is wrong. The only thing is, in the state 0 is special. There cannot be no departures in the state 0. So the only outgoing transition from the state 0 is lambda delta. So the self loop has to be 1 minus lambda delta. Thus we have got the Markov chain model for the MMMQ. So now we can try to apply the balance equation, that is between two states. If you draw a boundary and the probability that the system crosses the boundary in one direction should be equal to the probability that it makes transition through the other side of the boundary, in the other direction, so that the net probability of the system moving from states on one side of the boundary to the other side of the boundary is equal to 0. So if you draw a boundary here, we can write P0 into lambda delta should be equal to P1 into mu delta. Here if you draw, it is equal to P1 into lambda delta should be equal to 2 times P2 into 2 mu delta. And that is what we have written here. P0 lambda delta is equal to P1 mu delta, or in other words, P1 will be lambda delta by mu delta into P0, cancelling delta. We have P0 into lambda by mu, that is P1. Similarly, if you look at the second case between 1 and 2, a boundary between state 1 and state 2 leads to the following equation. P1 lambda delta is equal to 2 mu delta times P2, or P2 is equal to P1 by 2 times lambda by mu, where deltas are being cancelled. So again, in place of P1, if you plug in P0 from this equation, okay, P1, in place of P1, if you put P0 into lambda by mu, we get P0 into lambda by mu, the 4 squared into 1 by 2. Similarly, you can go and apply the balance between state 2 and 3. P2 lambda delta is equal to 3 mu times delta into P3, or P3 is equal to P2 by 3 into lambda by mu. In place of P2, if you substitute this one, we get P0 into lambda by mu, the whole cube into 1 by 3 times 2. But we can look for a pattern. If you make it P0 by 1, we will say, we will get here 3, 2, 1, which is nothing but 3 factorial. So until we go to m, for all n, we will see that if you go from one state to the, we want to get Pn plus 1 can be written in terms of Pn by multiplying a factor of lambda times mu and also multiplying n, which with n minus 1 factorial will become n factorial. So we can write Pn is equal to P0 into lambda by mu whole power n into 1 over n factorial. This is valid for n less than or equal to m. For n greater than m, we know that we will have to multiply mu delta with Pn. So Pn minus 1 into lambda delta is equal to Pn into mu delta, or Pn is equal to Pn minus 1 by m into lambda by mu. So the factor of m only gets multiplied beyond m. So again you can see that for the next time if you go, as long as Pn minus 2 is still is greater than m, we have a factor of m squared that comes. So we will have up to m, we will have a factor in the denominator of m factorial. Beyond that we will have m, only m, and so on. So we can write it as Pn is equal to up to Pm, we will have in terms of Pn is equal to Pm times lambda by mu power n minus m and m power n minus, because after m there are n minus m steps you have to move to the right. Every time you move to the right to get the probability of a state, you have to multiply lambda by mu once and 1 m in the denominator. So we have got lambda by mu power n minus m and m power n minus. Now if you plug in the Pm in place of Pm, if you want to write the formula, this holds good for including m. So Pm will be P naught into lambda by mu power m into 1 over m factorial. Therefore we will get P naught into lambda by mu power m into 1 over m factorial into 1 by m power n minus m into lambda by mu power n minus m. We can club these two factors together and write it as lambda by mu power n, because this factor is a constant factor and it gets multiplied as you move towards the right one state at a time. So lambda by mu power n comes. But whereas if you look at the denominator, up to m it is m factorial, beyond that it is m only, so m power n minus. Now we can define the server utilization factor. In the case of the MM1 cube, we defined rho, the server utilization factor, as the lambda by mu. Here it will be more meaningful to define a server utilization factor as the arrival rate to the maximum service rate, which is m times mu. So we will define it as rho as lambda by mu, in which case lambda by mu becomes m times mu. Of course, there is nothing wrong if you can also define a server utilization factor as lambda by mu and have your own formula, as long as you are consistent with the definition of the server utilization factor. So it is up to us to define what we want rho to be. So if you define it as lambda by mu, then the formulas will become nicer and it will be more insightful. That is why we are defining it like this. So in terms of this rho, what will happen? So Pn, for n less than or equal to m, we will see that it is P naught, lambda by mu is nothing but mu. So we will get m rho power n by n factorial. This is m rho power n by n factorial. So this is the what we will get for a generic probability of a generic state n for n less than or equal to m. for n greater than or equal to m, we would see that it is P naught. Here if you put, it will be m rho power m, and so here if you put m rho power n, okay, that we can write it as rho power n m power m. Rho power n will be there, and then m power n will also be there. That n and this m power n minus 1 cancels to get, we will get m power m in the numerator, and in the denominator we will have m factor. So this is how the formula will become for n greater than or equal to m. So we have expressed all a generic steady state occupancy of a state in terms of P naught and the parameters of the system, namely m, which is the number of parallel servers that are present, and rho, which is a server utilization factor, which is in turn dependent upon the lambda, mu, m, and so on. The only quantity which is not fixed is P naught. Once we know P naught, we can plug in and get Pn for any arbitrary state n. To get P naught, we have to use the normalization condition. Sigma n 0 to infinity Pn should be equal to 1. So if you apply that condition, we get this formula. Here Pn has two different formulas, one for m less than equal to m and one for n greater than or equal to m. See, at m both these formulas will be the same. You can see that. So plugging in, you will see that sigma n varying from 0 to m P naught m rho power n by n factorial, and here m plus 1 to infinity. M can be either absorbed here or here. We have taken care of m here, so we should start adding from m plus 1 onwards to infinity. And here, as you see, the factor is P naught rho power n m power m by m factorial equal to 1. P naught can be taken outside, and if you look at the remaining one, this summation is a finite summation. We will leave it as it is. N is equal to 0 to m rho power n by n factorial. Here we will have n varying from m plus 1 to infinity. So here you would see that m factorial is simply here. Rho and m, here this rho power n can be written as rho power m and rho power n minus m. Rho into m power m is retained. The remaining thing, rho power n minus m, has to be summed like this. You would see that this n is equal to m plus 1 to infinity rho power n minus m. So we can change the index and write it as sigma I is equal to 0 to infinity rho power I. And rho being less than 1, this becomes simply 1 over 1 minus 1. So the summation has been performed to get 1 over 1 minus 1. So together all these becomes 1. So if you want P naught, this is nothing but the inverse of this, what is present in this square bracket. P naught is this power minus 1. So in steady state we get the probabilities of occupying the state n given by this, where P naught has to be plugged in from this. So the recurrence relation is m by n times rho into Pn minus 1 for up to m minus 1, and it is beyond that it is rho times Pn minus 1. So this beyond 1, it is simply you have to multiply a rho, because we have defined rho to be lambda by m times mu. So as if it looks like a Poisson distribution for n less than or equal to m and geometric for n greater than m. Now we will look at the interesting properties and derive important metrics. An arriving customer, we would like to know under what condition an arriving customer has to wait, or the probability that a customer on arrival has to wait. A customer has to wait only when the number of customers in the queuing system is m or greater than m. Because if there are m customers, all servers will be busy, the arriving customer has to wait. Or if there are more than m customers, m of them will be under service, the remaining n minus m has to be already waiting, and the arriving customer has to stand behind them. So the probability that a customer has to wait or being queued is the probability that the customers waiting in the is the probability that a customer has to wait in the queue is probability that n is greater than or equal to m. For that, we have to simply add all pn's for m, n is equal to m to infinity. So sigma n is equal to m to infinity pn is what we have to do. So if you do that one, so we can see that it is the summation of this term. This summation is what we are talking about. Okay. Of course, P naught will also be there. This you will see that this is what the probability of queuing is. So it is P naught by m factorial into you will see that m rho power m rho is nothing but lambda by mu power m into 1 over 1 by 1 minus. So this is what is the probability that a customer will be. But we know that this is nothing but Pm, probability that there are m customers in the queuing system. So it is nothing, we can write it as Pq, probability the customer has to be queued is Pm by 1 minus. So this probability for deriving probability that a customer has to wait in the queue is called as the Erlang's C formula. Erlang is a notable mathematician who has contributed a lot towards queuing theory. In honor of that, this formula is called as the Erlang's C formula. We can also interpret this formula in a different manner. The probability that a given customer, an arriving customer, has to wait is the probability that an arriving customer finds all m servers to be busy. So it is the fraction of the time all m servers are busy. 1 minus pq is the time that at least one or more servers are idling. This Erlang C formula finds wide application in telecommunication. Let us assume an example where we have to set up a telephone exchange in a village or in a small town, and you have 50 lines, that telephone lines that connects this village to a metropolitan city, from where you can make connections to the rest of the world using by circuit switching. So any customer, of course we are assuming we are using landline connection. Okay, the same would also hold good if we have a mobile connection, but only instead of a wired connection we will have a wireless connection. What it simply says is a maximum of only certain number of connections can be established by using telephone within this village. Let the telephone calls made by the different villagers follow a Poisson stochastic process with a rate lambda, and the duration of the call we will assume it to be exponentially distributed with a parameter mu. So this is very similar to the mm small m q, because we assume customers are nothing but the phone calls that arrive to the telephone exchange, and each outgoing telephone line is a server. Let us assume that there are a small m number of outgoing lines from this telephone exchange in that village to the telephone exchange in the metropolitan city. So maximum of m servers or lines can be busy. Beyond that, connections cannot be established. We further assume that a connection is needed as long as there is a call. So the call durations are exponentially distributed with a parameter mu. Because of the memoryless property, we still have an mm small m q. Now the question is, we put a restriction on the call being dropped because all lines being busy. So we say that the probability that a call being made by a villager to be blocked because all lines are busy has to be less than or equal to 0.05. Then what should be the number of m we have to provision, number of lines we have to provision to offer this quality of service to the villagers? Mathematically, we say that we have to find m such that probability that n being greater than m, the number of customers or the call in the queuing system, okay, to be greater than the number of lines, small m, has to be less than 0.05. So we can use this Erlang's C formula to find it. Then the expected number of customers waiting in the queue, NQ, we'll call it as NQ. So no customer would be waiting if the number of customers is less than or equal to m. Only when the customer is more than m, customer will be waiting. So let us say n customer will be waiting if there are m plus n customers in the queuing system. So we have to find nq is equal to sigma n is equal to 0 to m, n into p m plus n. When the system is in the state m plus n, then m will be under service, n would be waiting. So n will be waiting when the system is in the state Pm plus. To find the expected number of customers waiting, we have to multiply n with the state probability Pm plus n. So plugging in for Pm plus 1, see the formula we have to use for that is the formula that n is greater than m. This n is different. That is, the number of state is greater than m. Okay. So this formula is the one that we have to use. So this n p naught rho power n plus m power m by n factorial is what we have to put. So taking out p naught, factors below associated with m can be taken out, that is m rho power m by m factorial. What remains is sigma n varies from 0 to infinity n rho power. Okay, this n rho power n is taken out, is beta. Again we can take one row outside, remaining it will be n rho power n minus 1, which is nothing but d by d rho of rho power n. And switching the derivative, the summation and the differentiation, both being a linear operator, into exchanging, you will get this as d by d rho of sigma n 0 to infinity rho power n, which is 1 by 1 minus rho. The summation is. So on differentiating 1 by 1 minus rho, we will get Okay, row by row minus row. Okay, the whole square will be there. So we will have row by 1 minus row the whole square. What we will do is we will take use this factor row by 1 minus row, and 1 we will keep it along with this. We will identify this to be nothing but PQ. PQ is P naught by m factorial. This is m row power m 1 over m 1 minus row. That is what this factor is. So we can write it as PQ into row by 1 minus. So the number of customers, expected number of customers in the queuing system is PQ times row by 1 minus. Okay. So we saw in the MM1 queue it is simply row by 1 minus. So now we understand that the average number of customers in the queuing system, given that the queue is formed, is nothing but n by PQ, because we have to divide it by this PQ to include this condition that the expected number of customers in the queuing system, given that a queue is formed. To account for that condition, you simply multiply this by PQ. On this side you will have row by 1 minus. So this is very similar to the MM1 queue. So the system behaves like an MM1 queue once queue gets formed. So but rho is lambda by mu, which is obvious because when this queue gets formed, the service rate is mu, so it is lambda by mu. It is very similar to the MM1 queue's behavior. Then once we know this expected number of customers n q by, okay, we have got this one nq. The average waiting time of a customers in the queue, which we will call it as the W, can be obtained using the Little's formula. We know that n times W is equal to nq. Lambda times W is equal to nq. Lambda times the number of customers waiting in the queue is equal to the number of customers, expected number of customers in waiting in the queue. So we have to simply divide nq by lambda. So if you multiply this by lambda, you will get PQ, and then rho is there. Here we have a lambda, so rho is lambda by mu. So we can simply write 1 mu into 1 minus rho. Okay. So this would be W. How do you then get the average waiting time of a customer in the whole system? That will be equal to the time a customer waits in the queue plus the customer spends with the server getting the service rate, which is nothing but 1 over mu. So the average time the customer spends in the queuing system is the average time a customer spends waiting in the queue plus the average service time. So T is equal to W plus 1 by mu, or so that is simply obtained by adding 1 over mu to this. Now the expected number of customers in the queuing system, which is n, again can be obtained using the Little's formula by multiplying this T by lambda. If you multiply this formula by lambda like this, lambda times PQ by m rho into 1 minus rho into this. So here we will have lambda. Again this lambda times mu will become rho. So we will retrieve back rho into PQ by 1 minus rho. And here we will have lambda by mu, which is m rho. So we simply have this formula. Okay. So this is the way we analyze an small mq, where the customers obey Poisson arrival. There are m servers which can work in parallel, all identical, independent, exponentially distributed with a rate mu. and there are waiting spaces infinite. We will later discuss a case where the waiting space is finite or there is no waiting space. Apart from being with the server, customers cannot wait. So that is another case of an MMM queue. We will discuss it later. Now we will see that so far we have considered a case where we have a homogeneous server condition. All servers are identical, having the same service rate, and the common service rate is mu. We can have a case where there are heterogeneous servers, different servers having different service rates, and all of them, the service times are still independent. They can potentially service in parallel. But here again we have to carefully define the service discipline. What happens when a customer comes and few servers are idling? Naturally, a customer will go to a server whose service rate is more. So this is the service discipline which makes more sense. So if you have heterogeneous servers all having an exponential service rate which different service rates, an arriving customer will always try to go to a server which is idle, the one which has the maximum service rate. On the other hand, when all servers are busy, when a customer waits, as soon as a server becomes free, independent of whatever may be the service rate of that server, slow or fast, the customer has to go to that server. So this kind of a service discipline is what is more sense to apply here. So we will stop at this point. We will discuss about other variation of MMM queue where the waiting space is not there, and also the MMM queue where the number of servers are infinite. Thank you.